The day began under a gentle sun that cast its light across Brighton Hills, a secluded enclave in the bustling city of Emerald Heights. Known for manicured lawns, ornate fountains, and streets lined with high-end boutiques, Brighton Hills oozed luxury at every corner. It was the sort of place where you'd spot sleek European vehicles gliding past hidden mansions, and where even the local coffee shop had a months-long waiting list for private tastings. Towering glass buildings dominated the skyline, reflecting not just sunshine, but the silent assertion of wealth. Tucked inside this ritzy district was Langston Elite Motors, a dealership celebrated for its exclusive clientele, hushed deals, and eye-popping price tags. Inside Langston Elite Motors, bright overhead lights made the polished marble floors gleam, and each high-end SUV, coupe, and sedan looked like a glistening work of automotive art. There, behind a curved reception counter of black granite, stood the poised Alana Gates. At 48, Alana had spent nearly half her life in luxury auto sales, and she now served as the dealership's manager. Over the years, she cultivated a sharp eye for who deserved her time and who didn't, at least in her own estimation. She wore impeccable suits, spoke with crisp authority, and flashed a carefully measured smile that could seal a $200,000 sale or freeze out any potential buyer she deemed unfit for the showroom. For a long time, that strategy earned her respect from her superiors and fear from her subordinates. Early in the afternoon, Alana surveyed the vehicles on display, a row of sophisticated SUVs from venerable brands glimmering under spotlights. Sales associates dashed around in their tailored outfits, ready to cater to affluent visitors. Through the dealership's massive glass windows, she caught sight of the steady flow of exotic cars buzzing along the main road. Every detail of Langston Elite Motors was orchestrated to reflect prestige. In Alana's view, anyone stepping inside should match that same aura. What she could not have known was that soon, a single customer would arrive whose unassuming appearance and hidden identity would challenge her entire approach. And on this particular day, assumptions and quick judgments would prove perilous. That afternoon, a quiet lull settled over the dealership. Alana fiddled with her diamond-studded watch, anticipating the next appointment. A middle-aged doctor, perhaps, or a business executive with a private driver. Yet the glass doors opened to reveal someone entirely different. A tall man in his early 40s, dressed in a simple grey hoodie, well-worn jeans, and sneakers that showed their age. He walked in without fanfare, not glancing around in awe like a typical window shopper, but assessing his surroundings with a calm, self-possessed manner. Alana's instincts told her this man didn't belong, at least not by her refined standards. She peered at him with subtle but visible disapproval. A quiet whisper to her assistant, Ben, a promising young salesman, made it clear. She believed he was just there to browse or kill time, not to buy. Ben, uncertain, watched as the man strolled toward a brand-new 2025 Kingston SUV, one of the dealership's prized top-tier models. This shiny black masterpiece boasted every luxury feature imaginable, from the hand-stitched leather seats to an advanced self-driving system. Its hefty price tag hovered near $180,000, and Alana's mind instantly pegged the newcomer as unqualified to even consider such a purchase. But the man's demeanor remained cool. His name was Malik West, and if he sensed Alana's scrutiny, he gave no sign. He gently brushed his fingertips along the SUV's smooth exterior, then turned toward Alana with composed curiosity. In a polite, measured tone, he asked about the vehicle's features and whether he could arrange a test drive. Alana stiffened and offered a superficial smile, explaining in clipped words that the dealership had policies about letting people test drive such high-value cars. She mentioned a need for financial verification, a soft credit check, none of which was actually standard. With a tilt of his head, Malik accepted her explanation with a calm that threw her off guard. There was no protest, no anger. He merely nodded and asked what a cash buyer would need to do to move forward. Alana, taken aback, reiterated her stance. She told him they required serious intent and an exclusive pre-approval process, as if reciting some official company doctrine. Ben, standing a few steps away, felt a subtle tension mounting. He'd seen Alana dismiss walk-ins before, but Malik's composure was strangely self-assured. Alana, however, refused to reconsider. She insisted on her made-up policies, all but driving home the point that he wasn't a typical client. What she couldn't guess was that Malik wasn't merely interested in purchasing a vehicle. He was there for something far bigger than a test drive. Moments later, as the conversation between Alana and Malik stalled, another potential customer stepped in. A gentleman in a tailored navy suit, glancing at a lavish sedan on display. Immediately, Alana shifted her attention. Her dismissive attitude toward Malik became even clearer as she practically glided over to greet the suited customer with a warm, enthusiastic grin. Ben noticed Malik's subtle smirk and braced himself. He had a sense that Alana's approach might come back to haunt her. But Alana either didn't notice or didn't care. Undeterred, Malik took his time wandering around the brightly lit showroom. He paused by a sleek G-Class Titan, comparing features, reading the spec sheets. Meanwhile, one of the junior salespeople, Corey, hesitated before offering assistance. Alana appeared almost instantly, diverting Corey with a gentle but firm nudge. She made it clear she intended to handle this browsing situation herself. When Malik repeated that he'd be willing to purchase outright, she repeated her stance about proof of funds or some unspecified approval. In a surreal twist, Malik calmly produced a black credit card from his wallet, a centurion-level piece of plastic that only the wealthiest individuals typically carry. A hush fell over the space as Alana looked at the card, momentarily speechless. Ben watched from behind a desk, heart pounding. Alana doubled down, referencing non-existent rules and hinting that even a premium card wasn't enough without further verification. Malik said nothing, just tucked the card away and continued his unhurried inspection of the vehicles. Somehow, his calm rattled Alana more than if he had yelled. She maintained her professional composure outwardly, but internally, questions began swirling. Who exactly was this man? Word traveled fast among the staff. A few employees whispered among themselves, recounting how Malik West had just pulled out one of the most elite payment options on the planet, and been refused. Corey sidled up to Ben, eyebrows raised in disbelief. They'd been told by Alana that the dealership's brand image must be protected, that Langston Elite Motors catered only to certain types of clientele. But refusing to even consider a Centurion card was unprecedented. Some began to wonder if Alana had gone too far this time. Amid this buzz, Alana stayed resolute. Over the years, she'd earned a reputation for closing major deals and shattering sales targets, which won her applause from executives. Yet, rumors had occasionally surfaced that she selectively overlooked customers who didn't look the part. Some said she flat-out ignored people who walked in wearing casual clothing or who didn't drive up in a vehicle that met her unspoken rich standard. According to Scuttlebutt, she'd even turned down a local football star once, not recognizing him out of uniform. The dealership's upper management rarely intervened. As long as she delivered profits, they saw no reason to challenge her methods. But times were changing. Whispers abounded that Langston Elite Motors had been acquired by an influential conglomerate, and that a shake-up in leadership was on the horizon. Malik West's polite refusal to leave, combined with his quiet confidence, had employees guessing he might be someone significant. The possibility that he was an inspector or a secret shopper also crossed their minds, and a sense of unease rippled through the staff. Alana, however, refused to indulge such speculation. She was Alana Gates, prized manager, top performer, the one who set the rules. Besides, she was convinced that a real high roller wouldn't waste time proving themselves. Money spoke louder than credit cards, right? Not long after Malik's calm refusal to back down, the glass doors swung open again. This time, the figure entering wore a crisp charcoal suit, polished shoes, and carried an air of authority that demanded instant respect. Daniel Moore, the regional director for Langston Elite Motors, rarely visited the dealership unannounced. Whenever he did show up, managers like Alana usually treated it like a grand occasion, a chance to show off sales numbers and impress the higher-ups. Yet, the moment he stepped in, Daniel's attention fixed on Malik West. Their exchange was startlingly friendly. Daniel greeted Malik by name, his face lighting up in a grin that suggested a long-standing rapport. Malik responded just as warmly, addressing Daniel in a familiar tone that made it obvious these two men knew each other well. Alana, initially confused, attempted to recover her composure. She stepped forward, hoping to insert herself into the conversation, but Daniel barely glanced at her. To his eyes, the priority was Malik. Suddenly, Daniel turned to Alana and said, "I'd like you to meet Malik West, our new CEO." The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Alana felt her stomach plummet. New CEO? That single phrase rattled the entire dealership. Ben froze. Corey stared, and several other sales associates pretended to busy themselves with tasks while listening intently. If rumors of a corporate shake-up had been swirling, here was confirmation in the most dramatic fashion. Alana's face paled. Malik West was the newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of Langston Elite Motors and all its sister properties, and she had just spent the past hour refusing him at every turn. The hush that overtook the showroom felt suffocating. Alana swallowed hard, struggling for words that wouldn't betray her shock. Her mind raced through the implications. She had lied about the dealership's policies, denied test drives, demanded proof of funds, and all but insinuated that Malik West wasn't worthy of stepping inside these gleaming vehicles. Yet here he stood, introduced as the new ultimate authority of the entire enterprise. There was no talk of second chances. Malik's expression was calm, but there was an unmistakable gravity in his gaze. Daniel looked from Malik to Alana, trying to piece together the tension. When he asked for an explanation, Alana started to spin her usual speech about ensuring only qualified buyers test drive high-value automobiles. She insisted that it was standard policy to run preliminary checks, but Daniel's frown made it clear he was unaware of any such policy. Malik, still composed, explained point by point how Alana had made him jump through hoops that didn't exist, how she'd seemed determined to cast him aside as soon as she spotted his casual clothing. In a calm voice, Malik voiced what everyone was thinking. If I'd come in here wearing a tailored suit, would I have been treated differently? The question lingered. Alana tried to respond with a rehearsed line, but the weight of her actions spoke louder. Employees who had witnessed the entire exchange shifted uncomfortably, remembering the dismissive tone she'd used. Daniel Moore's gaze hardened, and his silence demanded truth. The facade that Alana had built for years, her reputation as an immaculate judge of who belonged, began to crumble under the glare of the man she had so grossly underestimated. At last, Malik spoke again, his voice still measured. "I wanted to see how our customers were being treated. I wasn't here to demand special privileges, but to understand the culture. And now, I have my answer." With those words, the sum of Alana's career in that dealership looked suddenly precarious. She had thrived on sales numbers, forging alliances with corporate higher-ups who admired her efficiency, but never considered that one day a new leader might care about more than just revenue. The tension in the air sparked a wave of memory and rumor among the employees. People recalled prior incidents in which Alana, to maintain her exclusivity standard, had refused test drives to patrons who weren't dressed to her liking. Some recounted stories of influential figures, an unassuming billionaire who arrived in workout clothes, a famous local singer known for wearing sweats, being treated coldly because they didn't fit her picture of elite. More disturbing were unverified tales that Alana had turned away certain demographics entirely, whether because of personal bias or misguided notions of protecting the brand. Malik West, however, was no stranger to prejudice. Quiet rumors said he'd begun his own career in a small dealership on the outskirts of a different city, climbing the ranks through diligence, financial savvy, and a genuine talent for connecting with all kinds of customers. His track record of championing inclusivity and high ethical standards was precisely why the parent company had tapped him as the new CEO for Langston Elite Motors. As Daniel Moore stood beside him, it became clear that this new era would not tolerate the selective gatekeeping that had tarnished the dealership's reputation. The brand needed to evolve, and that evolution started now. Alana tried to pivot, pointing out her history of record-breaking sales, her long tenure, and the fact that she'd contributed to the dealership's success. But every justification fell flat before the fundamental truth. She had judged Malik on his appearance, refused to listen, and knowingly misled him about company policies. There was no plausible spin that could erase what had happened, especially with a crowd of employees present to confirm every detail. And in that moment, something bigger than a single dismissal was exposed. It was the entire culture that turned a blind eye as long as revenue flowed. If this account made you reconsider how quickly we dismiss people based on outward signs, then share it. Start a conversation with friends, family, or co-workers. Reflect on how your own workplace treats those who don't fit the common mold. Think about the times you've overlooked someone's potential or someone has overlooked yours. Real change begins with recognizing that, beneath the surface, we're all more than a first impression. And if you'd like more stories that provoke thought and challenge old attitudes, stay connected. Because every day, in places like Brighton Hills or any other corner of the world, stories unfold that remind us you never really know who you're dealing with until you look beyond appearances.